Welcome to today's call, and today our trainer is Bill Predebon. We're excited to have Bill with us today. He is someone that's got a wealth of experience as an entrepreneur, as someone who knows what it is to take a business and build it and make it successful. We're grateful that he's one of the team leaders, especially in the Arizona area, and we're glad that he's here with us this morning. Bill, how are you today? Good morning, Bill. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, Ron.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now. Sounds great.
All right, great. Yeah, thanks. It cut out there on your end. It's been cutting out. I don't know if it's my end or what.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we're all together again, and I'll turn it over to you.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Ron. Again, I look forward to seeing you out there in Mexico, and that should be a pretty good fun time, huh?
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Sure. I'll look forward to it. Thanks for everything. Thanks for introducing me and taking care of this training every day. I really appreciate it. I know before I started training, I listened to it every day, and so it's just I think it's a great tool, a great resource, and it's just we really appreciate having someone like you take care of it for us. So thanks. All right, folks. So I have a topic that was inspired by a meeting I had yesterday. And it's one that comes up quite often. In fact, when I got started, it was a topic of conversation between myself and a couple of the leaders in the group back when I got started, and something that I think is an ongoing question mark, and that is chasing two rabbits with regards to the Renatus opportunity. The Renatus opportunity is very unique in that we're one of very few, if any, other companies that you can monetize the product, right? You can take the product standalone and turn it into a business itself. You can make money from the product, from the education service that we provide at Renatus. So you have choices. And typically, what happens is, the majority of the people that are attracted to Renatus and come to see the opportunity are marketed through a real estate avenue. You post things about property tours and doing deals, or friends and family and colleagues and mentors and things doing deals. And naturally, that's how you attract. You attract people with roadside signs that are talking about real estate, or advertisements that are talking about real estate, which makes sense because obviously real estate is a very hot topic no matter what the market is doing. And the majority of people that you speak to are interested in some sort of real estate. And of course, if you understand the statistics, real estate is that pillar of wealth that has been creating the most millionaires, and where people create and hold their wealth over time. So naturally, people are drawn to it. I will preface this training with the fact that I don't know how long this topic will last. So you guys are more than have an open discussion with questions. I have the chat open, and I can answer any questions. I guess you can. I don't have you muted. I don't know if Ron does, but I think he does. But regardless of that, you could put in chat and I can answer some questions, and then I can move into a kind of a subtopic after, depending on how long we go with this topic. But so, when I got started, as you guys know, I was only interested in real estate. I mean, I literally just wanted to make money in real estate. I wanted to flip a house because I needed income. So I guess I'll start with the overview of the. Can you hear me okay, Ron?
You're sounding great, Bill.
All right, cool. Just checking in because I don't know if it cut out. So, all right, awesome. So And now that's so weird. It's like echoing. I don't know if that's my microphone, you think?
I'm not sure. Do you have another device on by chance?
Um,
A cell phone or something?
Let me check something real quick. I don't think so. I mean, my cell phone's on, but I'm not on the.
Right. I'm not sure why that would do that.
Can you hear it echoing?
I can.
It wasn't doing it before.
No, it just started.
Let's see. Is that any better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that sounds great, Bill.
All right, cool. Thanks, Ron, for helping out. Yeah, I don't know why that's so. My cell phone was doing that. It's not on or anything. I mean, it's on, but it's not on the webinar. So anyway, thanks, folks, for your patience with me. So I was talking to a guy yesterday, and we were talking about scaling his real estate business. And so if you think about where you want to go in real estate, you know, I probably on any given year, I should say, I flip 10 to 20 houses. So, you know, not really because I even set a goal to do that. It just evolved that way, right? But this gentleman is really really going after it, and he's knocking doors, and he is got his first couple of deals under contract. One he closed on, one he's wholesaling, one he's flipping. And he obviously doesn't want to knock doors all the time, right? I started out knocking doors for my first year, and it wasn't even the full year, maybe 6 months. And I too realized quickly that although it is an amazing opportunity to find great deals, you know, it takes time, and you have to knock a lot of doors, and you've got to put in the effort. And so you'd want to scale that business. But I asked him, and I'll get to the point here, is that, you know, if you think about $250,000 in a year, and you're typically wholesaling, right? Doing door knocking, you're direct to seller, you've got a great advantage over the market, and your competition as far as getting deals. So if you're wholesaling to make $250,000 in a year, typically that's a $10,000 average, and that's 25 deals. So, you know, when you're door knocking, it could be up to, on average, 100 doors that you're not only knocking, but really, you know, you're speaking to at least 50 people. So it might take you 150 to 200 doors to get 50 people to talk to before you get one deal. So you can do the math. So if you think of the scalability of that, how many people you need to have knocking doors, how many doors you're able to knock in one night in a couple of hours. If you do 10 a night and you can get to 5 and you can talk to 2, you know what I mean? How many days do you have to knock? You're not going to knock on Friday nights. You might do Saturday mornings. So you start to think about this. And it's interesting because when we begin the marketing side of Renatus, all we think about is a direct sale. And we think about the amount of cold market leads. You know, I have, for the last 2.5 years, kept every single cold market lead I had from Craigslist. And you know, there's hundreds upon hundreds of folks that have called in, many hangups, many that I've called back that I've hung up. Of course, there's many voicemails. And then, of course, there's many communications. And then there's many invites, and there's many confirmations, and then there's much fewer show-ups, and there's even much fewer follow-ups, and then there's even much fewer enrollments, right? So it's an ongoing process, and we are set in our minds that, well, you know, real estate is the way that we're going to make money. It's what we came here for. It's where our interest is, and it makes sense. And then we begin to, witness the marketing. We hear some of the testimonies and some of the experiences, and more importantly, we hear the majority of the financial gains that folks are having, and some of the top income earners, and what they're potentially making in the business, and how long they've been involved, and things like that. And we begin to be intrigued by that avenue of income. And so the problem becomes, and I don't know if it's a problem, but we begin to have a separated focus, right? So we're working on the marketing, and we start to go to the meetings, and we spend more time at the events, and we start to study the 10-step training, and we start to work with our mentor and make our list, and we start to do the things that we're doing. But we're also studying, of course, and we have a passion to pursue real estate. Now, most of you, or a lot of you, are not, and I don't know if call it fortunate or unfortunate, but for me, I didn't have a job. So I was full-time real estate. I mean, I was spending 10 or 12 hours a day working on real estate while I was also trying to learn and chase down any lead I could. So when the marketing came about for me, I didn't do any advertising or marketing or Craigslist or street signs. I simply went to warm market to get qualified and start making money. And I had some success. Like if you've heard before, I literally only had 12 individuals in the room before I had 4 closed combos in 2008. And to be honest, if you haven't heard that story, when I was in between my first deal, which took 6 weeks to do on a wholesale transaction, door knocking, to my second deal, which was a short sale that took 7 months. I was really in a bad situation financially because I wasn't making any money in that time frame. And so when I looked at the marketing, it became obvious to me that I needed to pursue that as well, to try to make a little extra money quicker in between trying to get this real estate thing going, because it wasn't working fast enough. It was working, but I didn't know if I was going to end up closing one of these short sales or not. And I'd been working on them for months, and I had a ton of them in the pipeline, and it just was a disaster. And so, the marketing ended up saving my life, really, when it came to me making a quick 4 sales. $20,000 was put into my pocket in May of 08, and it made a really big difference to me. But I never marketed for the sake of marketing. In 08, 9, 10, 11, and 12, or 10 and 11, right before we transferred over right as we transferred over to Renatus, I would make between $30 and maybe $25 and $50,000 in marketing. I had no real team. Everybody was a retail sale, just like I was, and they were interested in the real estate education, and then they would move on. And they really wouldn't come to meetings and stuff like that. I was not building a business. I wasn't building a team. I wasn't working with my team. I didn't really have a core belief about marketing. And I had a very, very strong core belief about the education and the real estate. So when it comes to chasing 2 rabbits, what I'm getting at is we begin to look at the marketing, but we have this overwhelming passion for the real estate, which makes sense. And I'm going to come to a solution here in a minute, in my opinion. And it's only my opinion. I'm not telling anybody what to do with your business, because you're going to make your own decisions, and you're going to do well no matter what you do. All I can share with you is my experiences, not only of my own, but also with my team over the last few years, and my experiences in the past when I was involved in the previous company. So what I'm getting at about the marketing is that I never took a solid shot at marketing. It wasn't because I didn't believe in it. I didn't have the core belief, like I said. It's just because I just didn't make a decision to do so. I didn't think or believe that it was what would get me where I wanted to go. If you look at it, when I was talking to this gentleman yesterday, I was like, you know, if you think about the people in the company over the last, you know, 7-8 years, from Scott and Nancy down to, you know, the Nates and guys that have been around, you know, Ryan Black and you know, some of the folks that have been here not quite as long as them, maybe half the time, 2 or 3 or 4 years, and the success that they're having with the marketing, it's a relatively short period of time when their business starts to explode. So the immediate first year, second year, third year, even maybe into your fourth year, as you begin to market, it is about your direct sale. It's about building your direct line, working with a few people that are doing a little bit here and there, but you continue to have personal production. But what's interesting is in a very short period of time, 3 or 4 years, even 2 years or 5 years, your team is now growing, and they are starting to get into their pace. They are starting to have their confidence in their core beliefs, and they've hit a rock bottom. You know, when we start out in the company, as you guys all know, for the most part, we experience this high, and then reality sets in time, and we have to transition from employee to business owner. We have to go through these learning curves, and we go up and down and up and down. But as you have, you know, 8 or 10 or 12 or 20 or 30 direct sales over 2 or 3 or 4 years, and then those folks start to get into their rhythm. Now you have a team. Now you have that scalability. Renata's marketing system is a built-in scalability. You don't have to scale your business to accommodate a team of 200. In order to make $250,000 in a year or more, like the top, you know, whatever it is, 50 income earners or whatever it is in Renata's, you don't have to scale your own business. You don't have to make 25 sales in a year to make $250,000. It's not all reliant on you. You don't have to learn to build systems because the systems are already built for you. You just have to plug into them, and you have to stay consistent, and you have to make a decision that that's what you want to do. Now, again, I'm not going to tell you or suggest that you don't do real estate. I would be hypocritical, and I don't think that's a very good idea. However, what I am going to imply and what I am going to share with experience is that if you choose to do both, you can't do booth, you got to do both. If you choose to do both, then it is a determined choice that you are going to increase the number of hours you work. And that's just a fact. So if you have a full-time family and you have a full-time job and you have a full-time life, it is going to be very difficult to implement a full-time Renata's business and a full-time real estate business. It's going to be very difficult. In fact, there's probably not enough hours in the day. And you will find yourself tired, to say the least. So, and again, Renata's and real estate, in my opinion, they are not 40-hour-a-week businesses. They are 20 to 30. People say they work 5 to 10 hours or 15 hours a week in the Renata's business. In my opinion, that's good. I don't know how true it is or what results they're getting, but that is not my experience. It's still a relatively part-time business when it comes to only working 20 or 30 hours, because most jobs are 50 hours. They're not 40, they're 50. So you still are part-time. And so if you're putting in a part-time real estate and a part-time Renata's business, you're at 50 hours or 40 hours on top of what it is that you're doing. So if you have a 40-hour-a-week job, you're now working 60 to 80 hours a week. And that has to be the sacrifice, in my opinion, to get those both businesses going. I will tell you this, in my opinion, again, in my experience, you know, from what I've seen, you know, real estate goes up and down, and we sell real estate education services. We offer that opportunity to folks. And when real estate markets are good, people and bank business markets are good and lending markets are good, as we're going to experience now and we're going to experience for the next, 12, 18, 24, 32 months yet still. in the majority of markets that move quickly, like Utah and Arizona and Las Vegas and California and Florida, and some of the major cities that have that great fluctuation of appreciation and decline. Enrollments, in my opinion, are greater. People can get funded easier. People are more interested in real estate. They feel like they're missing the boat because the media is hyping it up, right? And that's a great time to market. It's also a great time to learn and to create lines of credit for yourself, to create cash flow, to create cash banks, to create as much credit line as you can, as much cash as you can, because when the market does decline, you're going to have an abundance of knowledge to take advantage of a real estate market that makes more money in a downturn than it does in an upturn like right now. So what I've found is if you only do the marketing and you don't ever dive into your classes and you don't ever start to experience real estate, you have a business that you can't control. When the markets change and people slow down on enrollments, when banks tighten up lending, when HELOCs aren't readily available, when equity goes down and people can't get HELOCs to fund, they can't get credit lines or increase their credit limits to fund, and things like that happen, your marketing business will decline a little bit, right? You will see a lull in your marketing, perhaps. It's not probably ever going to be like, I can't imagine that any of us will ever see another recession like we did. So I'm basing a lot of this experience on that recession. But to some extent, it's possible that would happen. But when you are understanding and set up for real estate for a turning market, I mean, in Arizona, it's typically, in California, it's a 7-year cycle. 7.5 years from the bottom to the top, back down to the bottom. We've been set back quite a few years, almost 10 years, because of the recession. And so we skipped an entire cycle, if you will. However, we are on that up curve, right? We've been booming for the last 3 years, and we're going to hit the top, and then we're going to come back down for a few years. In my opinion, I don't know, but from what I have learned and from what I've learned from the instructors that have been around in the block for a long time and have been through cycles, that is the trend, right? So as we look at the real estate and you set yourself up for the opportunity to take advantage of that down market, you can focus and still market. You still have your team, you still have people making sales, but it might be a little bit less. But then you have your credit. You've studied your credit classes. You've built your credit up. You've been doing the marketing. And, if you make an extra 10 grand a month, or you make an extra 10 grand a quarter and you don't need it, and you can put it on a line of credit and bank it for a while, or you can utilize the velocity banking to drive down your mortgage, get rid of your car payment or whatever it is that you're doing to free up more cash flow from your job. And then you don't need an extra 10 grand to pay your bills, and you become debt free, which for most people, it's 20 or 30 grand. It's 3 sales, and you focus on that for a while and you make that your goal. And then in the meantime, you're studying your education. Folks, you don't have to be trying to flip a house and don't get me wrong, I'm doing it. So I'm telling you not to flip a house in today's market. If you get a good deal, flip it. I don't care. Make some 20, 40 grand. But my point is, there's a lot of risk there in a market when you're trying to compete with property and you're trying to beat the clock on when it's going to rescind a little bit, when the market's going to go down, when it's going to slow down, when you've over fixed up a property and you've got a hard money loan, or you took a little bit more risk because you're banking a little bit on the market to go up, and there's lack of inventory, and all these things are going through your mind when you're doing a deal. You don't have that risk inherited with the marketing. There's no risk except a no. So as you work through this marketing business, you're setting yourself up over the next year or 2 years to be in an amazing position to take advantage of a down market, especially with your knowledge and your experience and your partnerships and your relationships that you've built. You can partner with people. I mean, trust me when I say, I look back at, and I'm sure you all do too, but being that I was in the market, I look at multifamily right now, and I own a couple of night, a 10-bedroom, and some other multi-units. But man, the price of multifamily in Arizona right now compared to what it was in a down market is astronomical. And I'm not even really looking at it unless I'm going to fall in my lap a mom and pop who just want to get rid of their property, and they've just completely undermanaged it, under-rented it, and under-marketed it, and it's not taken care of, right? So there's so many opportunities to improve the income, and so that would be something I would take advantage of. But come a down market, those properties become far more available. And when you're set up in a position where you don't need to make money in that down market, you have a business, you've gotten rid of all your debt, your credit's good, and you're one of the 100 million people that don't have a crisis in a down market, that don't get affected by the recession, that don't, worry about what the market's doing, and you're not bailing out of the stock market, and you're not bailing out of your real estate and things like that, and you're prepared. That's when you really set yourself up. And you guys we all will experience more than one of these down markets where we can take advantage of them if we're set up right. So back to chasing two rabbits, right? In my opinion, people have always told me you can't chase two rabbits. And can't is a strong word, right? If you listen to some of the top income earners in any of your audiobooks, there's no such word, right? So if we want to look at it as like, yes, I can do it, right? And you're like me, and that's what I did. When I decided in 2016 to come back and really hit Renatus and be a part of it, and ask Dr. G to welcome me back, or, to allow me back onto the team here and really work in Scottsdale, and that whole scenario played out, I didn't do it because I wanted to limp in. I didn't do it because I wanted to just have a side business. I did it because I wanted to be a top income earner. I did it because I wanted to double the amount of money that I was making in real estate in a short period of time. I wanted to build a team. I wanted to help other people. I wanted to have a group of people that I helped change their lives, right? Instead of just my own. So I did not, imagine, right? When I told my wife I was going to do this, and she gave me her support, she didn't say, yeah, go ahead and reduce your real estate business. Go ahead and give it up. Go ahead and don't worry about it. Let's take a couple $100,000 a year cut in salary and go out and start a Renatus business from scratch. That wasn't it. What it was you're already working 40 or 60 hours a week on your real estate. I mean, they were pretty easy 40 hours. I don't work hard. I'm not building a house every day with my own hands or anything. But nonetheless, I'm on my phone, and I'm up early, and I do my business. And, sometimes I have to work late or work on weekends with a house, or talk to some contractors, or go, write a contract, right? So I'm working all the time. And so when you add in a Renatus business, it wasn't, let's scale down my real estate. I still flip, 3 houses a quarter, 4 houses a quarter, whatever it is. And sometimes 5. I wholesale a couple, 2 to 5 deals a year. I manage the majority of my rental portfolio, and I've been picking up at least 1 property, 2 properties, or I should say 2 doors every single year. So I'm fairly busy. And in my real estate business, and I don't have a lot of great systems in place to scale that business. So I manage the majority of my 1099 folks, right? So I decided that I was going to do this business by adding a 20-hour a week plus workload. And, I'm at every single meeting, right? Rarely do I miss a property tour. The majority of them I hold. As you guys know the schedule, I'm not going to go through it. You all have your own markets, and it's a busy market. So I don't typically miss much, if anything, right? That's just the showing up. I still have to invite guests. I still have to build a team. I still have to work with my team every day. I had to set up a team call, which took another 1 hour on a Tuesday night when I normally don't have anything on Tuesday night. So now I implemented another hour, which takes a half hour to prepare for. And then, you got to settle down after the call and you go into 7 o'clock. So I sacrificed a little bit of a Tuesday night, which is another sacrifice on the family. I went ahead and I didn't do it in the middle of the day when no one could be on the call or was beneficial to my business, right? I did it when it was more convenient for the people that were going to be on my team. I also decided that I was going to have to invite people, that I was going to have to put out signs and place ads and not only use warm market, but go to meetup groups. And then I'm also going to be on leadership, and I want to help out the team, and I want to contribute, and I want to be a part of either hospitality. In my case, it was leadership, and it was, stepping up into a role of leadership and stepping up into a role of presentations and things like that. So it not only was a 20-hour a week, go to the meetings kind of business, but or do my inviting type things and placing my ads, but it became a 30-hour a week business because I had all those other things on top. It's not forever, but it was an addition to. So I doubled my workload in order to make it happen. So there is a way, in my opinion, and my experience, to chase two rabbits, right? I don't know if you guys know this, but Ben and Heather Echeverria, you probably heard this, but they are our fix and flip instructors now, right? They in the old company were the first team members, and I don't know if anybody's ever done it since, possibly, but they were the first people to make $1 million in the marketing and $1 million in real estate in the same year. Pretty phenomenal. So they obviously caught both rabbits. They were big rabbits. It can be done, but it's a dedication and it's a decision. What we want to avoid, in my opinion, is what we have to avoid is trying both. If we try both, we typically will fail at both. We will try the real estate, then we'll try the marketing, then we'll try both at the same time, and we'll place an ad and we'll go out and door knock. I mean, there's no consistency. There's no commitment. We go after whatever we feel is going to get us the fastest dollar first, right? And so we might be on the verge of breaking through on a real estate deal, and then a lead comes through the marketing that's possibly going to take a little extra time, and they're really interested and they've got resourcing funding resources. And so we spend more time with them and then we give up the deal, or whatever the case is. We don't go door knock for 5 more, days in a row. And then we lose that momentum from the door knocking, or we miss out on a deal that we could have done a follow up on a door when a guy told us to follow up in 2 weeks on his door. And so you skip that, or then you're into a real estate deal and you're really chasing down this really good real estate deal and you're trying to raise money. And so you don't go to the meetings. Excuse me. Hey, Pat, I got to call you back. Pat. I'm on a conference call, man. It's 2999 is the code. Then try 3099. Thanks. Sorry, guys. I had some appliance deliveries at one of my duplexes that I built. And he called 3 times, so I apologize. What will happen is we go from one to the other, and we choose that we don't commit to both. And we're wishy-washy, if you will. And it could be the death of both, because we end up not making money in either. And that's what I think most people mean when they say, hey, listen, you can't chase 2 rabbits. because you can't commit to both. You don't know which way to go. You're going to get pulled in both directions, especially because human nature allows us to chase the rabbit that we're closest to. If we would have gone 3 more feet, like 3 feet from gold, we would have succeeded on the other rabbit. And so that's where the self-discipline comes in. That's where the self-development comes in. That's where the audiobooks and stuff come in, and your mentor and your affiliate come in, and you really want to, develop that side of you where you can be disciplined to focus on, if you're going to focus on both, to do both and do it committed. But you've got to, in my experience, the time has to be there. And so, if you're struggling with both and you're not sure where to go, I wrap this up with this, is that, and you've heard me say this in other trainings, but I truly believe it. In talking with this gentleman yesterday, the same effort it's proven that Renata's marketing works. It's proven that people succeed and build teams and have success. And if you ask John O'Neill, he will always say it's worth it in the long run. It's worth it. Keep going. Don't quit. Not only don't quit, but keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting people, keep placing ads, keep getting rejected, keep having no-shows, keep getting laughed at by your warm market, whatever it is, because it's worth it. Because he knows when your direct sales start to experience their success and they don't quit and they follow in the leadership footsteps, your footsteps with your team, you will have a year that will explode. You will have a month that will be 40 or 50 grand or 30 grand or 20 grand. You will have 2 or 3 sales that you had nothing to do with. The record in this company in the past was, one of Bob's companies was $262,000 in 1 month. And that individual only had 3 direct sales. The possible experience that you will have is phenomenal when it comes to what this marketing can give. Now, you heard John McCants. You've heard people before. They've had multiple 6 figures on one deal. People have made $1 million in real estate. I don't know how to do that. I have the controls. Someone just isn't on mute. You may want to try to mute yourself. Pretty loud and obnoxious. If you're listening and you can check your mute, that would be great. Anyway, that is quite possible with the I don't know where that is. Manage participant. Oh, here we go. Thank you. I did that. I just couldn't see which one it was. Thanks, Christian. With the real estate, like I said, that you can have that too. And you will. But the marketing is twofold. Number one, the marketing is faster. There's no question that if you looked at the two over time, people will make money faster in marketing than they will in real estate when they're just getting started. Unless, of course, there's the exceptions to the rule. Some people are forced to make money like I was, and some people have all the time like I did, and some people have some experience or knowledge or extenuating circumstances that they're bringing to the table before they even get started with Renatus, and it enables them to do a little bit more in real estate faster. But for the most part, if you had the opportunity to, the marketing in real estate, the marketing tends to be a faster path to money, and ultimately that same marketing path leads to a bigger, better opportunity in real estate with growing your team and having more partners and money and deals come your way, as I've talked about in the past. Secondly, with the marketing is there is no risk. There is no contracts. There is no money. There is no time to set up systems and be scalable and things like I talked about earlier. It's there for you. Your strongest or your biggest obstacle in the marketing will simply be your ability to engage in and truly embrace the 4 core beliefs. Once that is secure in your heart, then you will have the marketing success that you're looking for. as long as obviously the work is being done. But that commitment to those core beliefs will create, enables you to do it without risk, with no loss of money, with no loss of partnerships, with no headaches, with no potential, you don't potentially have a direct sale come in and they purchase the combo, but because it took you an extra 2 months to get them enrolled, or because they had to go use 4 different credit cards, or because whatever, you don't get a partial of the 10,000. You get it all. When Renatus gets paid, you get paid. And so when you flip a house or you do a wholesale deal and you got to lower the price or go back to the seller and try to get them to reduce the price, or you got to put more into it, or it takes longer to do a fix and flip, or whatever the case is, you may not lose money, but you lose profit. It goes down and it goes down and it goes down and it goes down. And you have the same amount of work or more, but you have less money. In Renatus, it's never happens that way in the marketing. So there's so much benefit. And I know all of you, I'm preaching to the choir, but here's how I'll end this, right? So my opinion is, if you're doing some door knocking, and I suggest you try it, right? Go meet up with a partner and do it. Follow one of the classes that teaches the door knocking, or talk to someone who has, and do it. Or put out your yellow letters, mailers, flyers, whatever it is to get real estate leads. Get into some sort of curriculum path that you want to see yourself doing in the next 10 months or 1 year, right? Whatever that is. And choose that choice. But use your real estate time as not being in a hurry to do a deal. Use your real estate time to help learn your classes, right? You don't have to study land development until you get a land deal, in my opinion. Worry about commercial, whatever it is. If you're not studying a particular track, you don't have to study all the tracks and all the classes and all the curriculum paths. You pick one, and then you take some of the fundamental classes and you work on those and you implement them. This is going to help your marketing, as you've heard me say before, and everybody talks about, right? The more you learn, the more you can talk about it, the easier the marketing gets. But the thing is, you're going to set yourself up for some things. But as this real estate goes on and you're studying, you're going to come across deals. The thing is, you're going to cherry pick those deals. You don't have to chase every lead. You don't have to fix and flip. If you don't have any money raised or any partners lined up, who cares? Pass on the fix and flip for a wholesale and make a quick 5 or 10 grand. But the whole time you're focusing on this 20 or 30 hour a week marketing gig, and you're building your team, and you're getting 5-star qualified, and you're starting to have 5 or 10 or 15 people on your team. So 5 or 10 or 15 people could amount to, 50 grand, or, maybe a few essentials, a few advanced combos, and a few UGAs or in-house billing deals go through, and a couple grand here, a couple grand there, a few $500 a month payments. And you've got this wide net of income coming in from Renatus over 10 months or a year or 2 years. But all of a sudden you're positioned for the right deal as subject to, where you don't need a lot of money. And boom, you can buy and hold a property, and you didn't need to fix and flip it because you made money marketing. And now you have a real estate portfolio starting to build up. And there's no risk in a subject to, really. You're just going to take over the payments if you do it right. And you don't care if the market goes upside down or sideways. And if you bought the property with a little bit of equity, even a little bit, and you're able to hold it, it's going to be months before if ever, the note gets called due, which is 1 in a million, right? But if some tragedy happens, you have an asset you can sell. You can refinance or wholesale or get rid of, or you could wrap it, or you could try. There's so many options to get out of a good deal if it's a good deal. If you come across a land deal or you come across a multifamily deal, you can worry about it then, but at least you have the knowledge and the resource to do it. But in the meantime, you're doing this no-risk free business that you already have systems for that you can plug into, and you focus your time there on that marketing, and then that real estate business will form itself, and you will create wealth through long-term hold. You will create wealth when you stumble across a good land deal, because you're doing real estate, but not to flip 15 properties a year. That's a full-time business that I accidentally got into. And although it's a very lucrative business, it's a very time-consuming business. And what you'll find in that, in my opinion, in my experience, not just mine, but a lot of my friends and people that I've enrolled, is that it will deter you from doing the marketing on a regular basis. The marketing on a consistent enough business for you to ever be a top income earner in this company. If you do the opposite and you focus on being a top income earner in the company, and then you do the real estate on the side, and you chase that rabbit through education first, through knowledge and experience first, and then you implement little strategies, you will find the deals that you want the most, that are the most lucrative and the most profitable and the least risky, and those are the ones you take and keep and hold or flip. And those are the ones you have the property tour in, or whatever the case is. And then you have these two rabbits, and one is fat and it's easy to catch, and it's in a cage and you've mastered it, and it's your big rabbit. And the other one is this slow growing rabbit that over time is going to live for 50 years, and you're going to be able to pass it down to your ancestors and to your sibling or your kids and their kids and your grandkids. And that's the real estate rabbit that you're going to grow. And so that's my experience. I don't see any other questions in the chat. If anybody's got a question, regardless if it's related to my topic or not, then have at it. You can type it in there. I'm going to type in my cell because there might be new people that want to reach out to me. There have been some in the past that have reached out, and hopefully I've done a good enough job of getting back to you, talk to you about any of my ads or any of the things that I'm going to do. I do on a regular basis. But if you want to learn more about any of my experiences in these two rabbits, and right now I've got 30 people on my team in 2.5 years. Almost made 6 figures in my second year with Renatus back at the business. This year I'm on pace to beat a 6-figure this year, at least in the marketing. But the coolest thing is I have a team that is really growing, and they are getting, many of them are halfway to 5-star. Many of them are just have a huge tsunami of pipeline behind them of marketing, where they're going to have a $10,000 or $20,000 a month themselves as soon as they hit 5-star. And that will soon catapult me as well, into that goal of being, in the top 10% or 1% or whatever it is of Renatus. And it's only a few years. And my real estate business doesn't suffer. Your job doesn't have to suffer. Your life doesn't have to suffer by committing to this, but it's got to be a legitimate, serious commitment and determination and decision that is what you're going to do first and foremost. I got some thanks on the chats. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. It's 7:58. I want to respect your time as well. And so I've got my cell phone number in there. It's 760-533-3141. Feel free to reach out to me. I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys that was on this call. And thanks for your time. It's very valuable. You guys are awesome. And everybody just have an amazing day. And thrive. Have a great Tuesday. Have a great week. Build for the events. You guys are all welcome. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Have a great week.